So as an architect, I consider myself being a creative person. However, when working for an architectural practice or for other types of job, the creativity aspect can become lost. And I think this is equally true for designers, musicians, artists who have a day job to pay the bill, but who are pigeonholed in that job and who feel like they're a cog in a wheel that they cannot escape from. So in today's video, I will share my current framework of thinking that I use to approach this problem so that hopefully at some point I can have more creative control in my career. Hey guys, and welcome back to this channel. My name is Alex. I'm a registered architect in UK, and today we'll be looking how to approach establishing a meaningful and fulfilling creative career. I became a registered architect last year, and after graduating I became increasingly lost in the direction of my career. I would be working on the same repetitive, often boring stuff, and there wasn't much change. As a contrast, in the past, School of Architecture was this highly creative environment where one could express their ideas, and there was a sense of this limitless opportunity which became lost after graduating and getting a job. Luckily, in the past, my interest started to diverge from purely artistic and architectural into the broader spectrum, and I became to consume a lot more self-help and business types of books and information. And today I will be sharing some of the key takeaways from these resources that will hopefully help you to take your creative endeavors beyond the university. Before we go any further, please subscribe to this channel to show support. I will be releasing more videos in upcoming weeks and months, so your support would be great. So the first thing to realize when working in a creative discipline is that when we work for somebody else, we are actually not going to get to work on the creative stuff that we would like to do ourselves. We're always going to be working on somebody else's time and somebody else's agenda. So if you are into documentary movies or you produce music, working for somebody else is not going to get you to that place that you want to be. You're not going to be doing those projects that you're really passionate about. So that's an important thing to realize before jumping into these other points, that unless you're really lucky, it is very difficult to get into the executive position, which is a person who is making creative types of decisions. And that's why creative jobs are so scarce, because they don't actually exist. One has to create them. So this leads me to the next idea, which is if you really want to do something besides your day job, the answer to that is to go for it and just do it, and do it in your own time, after work, in the weekends. And the key here is to not give up in the first 2 weeks, but actually to commit to the longer process to see if this idea that you're passionate about, if it actually has any validity. Do you actually like doing it? Or perhaps there's going to be a discovery about something else that you would rather do that's similar or completely different from the original idea. But the key is to put effort and to do it. So for me personally, over the past year, I came to commitment to try several things, to test them out and see if I liked any of those. And so in process of doing that, I tried drawing, teaching other people how to model, freelance architectural projects on the side, and all sorts of other things. And through this process of doing, thinking, and reading about things, certain patterns became clear, all of which are common sense, but I think it's still useful to talk about them just so that their importance is not lost. So the first thing to keep in mind is that there should be a high-level vision of some kind before you embark on this creative journey. There should be a sort of image in your mind that tells you why you want to do what you're doing. It either can be an opportunity to work on interesting projects and to create inspiring art. It might be the financial freedom or fame. It can be longing for being accepted in a creative community. Either of those can be a valid point of reference when thinking about the vision. Even if you think that it's embarrassing to talk about these things, that your peers might judge you, or it's not going to be accepted by your friends, it's still important that it comes from you, from yourself. So for example, my vision at the moment is a sunny beach somewhere in a coastal location, and ability to be at that beach and enjoy the weather and have a reasonable work schedule, not too busy, and not having a boss. And so that's kind of my vision. It's not exactly a set in stone type of thing, but it's that kind of like a North Star that is there on my mind whenever I have doubts or there's a challenging project ahead of me. I'm thinking, well, perhaps these creative endeavors can at some point bring me closer to that eventual dream, to that dream being reality. Even if it's laughed upon or rejected by others, it's important to have some kind of vision in your head. So the next thing is establishing creative habit. This is 90% of stuff you'll need to be able to implement that creative dream of yours. This is because creative endeavors don't have predetermined result. They're not outcome-based process. It's rather that we're putting in time in expectation that there might be a probability at some point that we're going to get something out of it, but that something is not predetermined. If we do a certain activity, it doesn't mean that that activity will lead to a certain result. Instead, if we put a little bit of effort every day on a consistent basis, the probability of a positive outcome or success of some kind will inevitably occur. Whenever we have some kind of idea in our heads as to what we want to do, inevitably that idea is going to change, because the more effort we put in and the more iterations this process goes through, the more that initial idea changes into something else, and the result can be completely different from what was originally anticipated. So that's an important thing to keep in mind about the creative habit, is that it's not a static linear thing. It actually changes over time to the point where we started and where we're going to end up is completely different at the end. So the next thing is connecting with other people, which is also called networking. And networking is not necessarily about having more acquaintances or more people knowing you and respecting you, or although that might certainly be one of the outcomes of good networking. Networking is more about finding like-minded peers and befriending them, and hopefully we can find peers that have similar vision, values and goals to our own, or at least a complementary set of those values, so that by being around them we can influence each other worldviews and perceptions in a positive way that kind of drives us to the same direction rather than diverging ideas. And if we get these people around who have similar values and beliefs, we can then sort of exponentially increase our chances of getting to some sort of form of success in our creative pursuit. And this is because there's a principle that you are the average of 5 people that you're hanging out the most. And this is obviously because people are social creatures and they learn and influence each other through communication. So choosing the right type of people to hang out with can actually be a huge advantage, and that whole journey becomes more enjoyable as well. So high-level vision, creative habit, and then connecting with like-minded people are the 3 core principles. However, there's this 4th idea as well that we need to take in account in our creative pursuits, is that we need to find a role model to emulate. Chances are that with the best vision, networking, and creative habit, there are still going to be sticking points that is going to be difficult to overcome unless there is a roadmap that we can use. And so by having a role model, it really gives a healthy overview of what's required to get in a certain position. So having a mentor, having somebody as a role model, somebody who achieved the sort of thing we are after, and then deconstructing their way there and adapting it to our needs is actually a great way to learn and to acquire new skills. If you like this video here, you might like this other video I made about cultivating creative habit. Please subscribe to this channel to show your support. I will be releasing more videos in upcoming weeks and months. Thanks for watching, and I will see you later.